Well, hello, Richard.
Hello,
What's
Mr.
on your hat, by the way?
Oh, that's nice. See how you
What's
use
on
it
your
against me.
hat?
It's Stingray.
Oh, okay, I like it. No, I like it. I like it a lot.
I like yours
Um,
better.
oh yeah, Ford Performance. I wonder if I could drive like those guys. That would be something. Um,
We have actually there is a school that they do
oh
teach you that.
yeah, Charlotte, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
hmm I
We
might
should
try
look
that
into
out
that.
soon.
After we get through, as a matter of fact, if the season keeps going like it is, maybe we could go there early.
Yeah. Do you know a guy? Do you think you can get me on that
I
course?
think I know
Uh,
a guy.
okay. All right.
I know a guy.
Let's dive right into this. Ryan Clark. Okay.
Loved it.
Okay, but it's not just Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark, Bryant McFadden, Rocky Blyer, Chris Hoke. Four guys that have played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and four guys that were hypercritical of the Pittsburgh Steelers, not just the way they played, but the effort they gave. That changes things. When you hear it from the inside or guys that have been on the inside, that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so I know about Ryan Clark.
Uh-huh.
I have heard about Chris Hoke, but I don't know what he said. I have heard about
Chris Hoke
Rocky.
said that Bush is not giving an effort. They're playing with 10 guys on defense, and the heart and hustle just isn't there. Rocky Blyer said, I don't give a bleep, just figure a way out. And Bryant McFadden said, it's like watching 10 guys on defense. You've got to go out and you've got to do something better. I can't continue to watch this embarrassment.
Okay, so if you start with Rocky, he and I are actually friends, and the one thing Rocky played with is what he's saying is missing from Devin. Rocky's success was pure heart. He played with all heart, and maybe his abilities, he would tell you, might not have been to the top level, but his heart gave him the success, which is the complete opposite of what we see with Devin Bush. But I'm not so quick to cast Devin Bush aside just yet. And then Chris Hoke. What did Chris Hoke say?
Chris Hoke was critical of Devin Bush, but he was also just critical of the effort in totality and the preparedness.
So this is where I start to get a little squirrely. Well, first of all, back to the Devin Bush. I saw Devin Bush. I saw that we have a clip that shows him flat-footed for like 3 seconds solid. Um, I'm not sure about that. I don't know what defense was called. I don't know if he was spying the quarterback. I don't know what he was doing. But of course, your feet are never supposed to stop moving,
Right.
right? No matter what. So, but then what bothered me more about that particular sequence was his seemingly lack of desire to make contact, and that's a big issue for me. It's also really hard for me, Colin, to think that a professional at this level, and not Devin, because let me go back to Devin. Actually, I watched Mike Tomlin's press conference, and he said something about Devin Bush, because that somebody asked him the question that maybe it was something mental and something maybe physical due to the old injury or last year's injury. And so the mental part, I start to wonder, man, does something get into these guys? Do they start to hear footsteps? Do they do they just avoid how do they get out of this? How much of this is mental? How do you play through it? Because it can't imagine somebody in a Mike Tomlin team. I mean, remember the guy's won 150 games. How can he be bad? I mean, he
Well,
didn't, you know.
enter Bryant McFadden, who splits it down the middle, and he says, when you're injured and you're wondering when you're coming back from an injury if you're good enough, then it creeps into your mental status, and that's where the two marry each other. And that's what he thinks is wrong with Devin Bush, in that he doesn't have full confidence, thus it becomes a mental thing, and it's hard to watch when you know you can't perform at 100% and then see the video of you out there and that's really not you.
So I really like that, actually. I really like what he says. I think he's coming from a place maybe even more informed than just a blanket criticism and blow up everybody. I think that's a really good point. And I think that, if because remember, year one, Devin Bush looked like he played lights out, right? And we had high expectations for last year, and he got hurt. But I don't know if it's all that. What I see is something I don't want to see, and it's something I don't want to believe. Because how do you? I mean, Mike Tomlin is, man. I'm still a Mike Tomlin guy. I'm sorry. You win 150 games, you get my respect. I like the way he talks. I like the things, but I'm looking at this team saying to myself, where's the problem? What is the problem, Colin? What would you do if I hand you the keys to the building? You walk in, you're the new Rooney. What
Right.
do you what do you do?
Well, this year's a lost cause for the most part.
Oh,
I
no, no,
mean,
no,
I
don't
don't
say
think
that.
there's
You
a
can't say that. You can't say that. You wouldn't walk into the room as the new owner saying that. You wouldn't even think it. You wouldn't let yourself. He's frozen.
is oh, there we go. I
There
don't
you go.
think there's a lot that can happen this year, but moving forward, there's some things that can happen, and you just have to play the string out this year. Too many guys are hurt, whatever. But this is exactly to the heart of your question. There's no identity with this football team. It used to be, well, it's a defensive football team. Well, you have a quarterback that's a Hall of Famer. You can throw the football around. Well, you just drafted a running back. Maybe you're a running team. Well, he's carrying the ball 8 times a game. You have to forge and find an identity and pick a path and just go with it. Just go straight down the road and go with it. If you're asking me what I would do, I would probably forego the quarterback next year, bring in a quarterback that's a bridge quarterback, draft a big lineman, some big lunk with 2 knee braces and a bunch of consonants together in their last name, and just say, let's try to beat people up
You
across the
can't
ball.
say that.
No, I would. So, Shajarnik, Faversky, something like that.
Stop. You can't say
Wisconsin or Iowa or somewhere, just a big lunk lineman, and have that person. No, that's precisely the kind of old school football player they're looking for, kind of a Watt brother, but a lineman, and have that person kind of run behind that person and try to become a running football team with that bridge quarterback for a year. Because if you drafted a running back that is a stud running back and you made the choice to do that last year, you have to use these gentlemen in their prime. And if you can couple a really good run blocker, a really big tackle, someone like that, and a stud running back, which Najee is, he is a premier back in this league, you've got to get the years out of them now. I would turn my identity into a running football team. That's what I'd do.
I think it's interesting. I think, there's so much of it that's accurate.
I would turn myself into Tennessee.
Yeah, well, now look at them.
But, okay, was anybody complaining when they were winning a lot of football games? Did they give themselves the best shot?
They definitely did, and they definitely did. And the run set up the pass, and the pass set up the run, and I mean, it worked.
The first move, whenever that phone rings, if you say you hand me the keys, and the phone rings, and it's July, and it's number 7, and he says, "Hey, I'd like to come back," I'd say, "There's not an invitation. We're not there. Like, this is me making the decision that there's no RSVPs. Like, sorry."
I agree with that, and I don't know. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't get it. And it's not helping the team. It's not. It just exacerbates other problems, and it's just not helping the team. We're not moving forward, and I think that's the key here. You could continue to pursue this season, which you'd have to do, because no matter what, if you win out, you don't know what's going to happen. Frankly, I don't. Lamar Jackson doesn't impress me either. I don't like him, as a matter of fact. But I mean, I don't. 4 interceptions. Stop it, Lamar. Sit down. Anyway, but the interesting thing is, do you like Steve? What's his name? Steve Young. Do you like Steve Young?
Steve Young, I used to. He's very okay. I don't know where his hair has come from, by the way. He's got it's this odd tinged color. It's like my beard, kind of. It's this odd tinged color.
But the thing was, I watched his pregame, and he made a couple comments about Mac Jones.
Okay.
And I couple that with a couple of comments by Ryan Clark. And going back to the basic old-fashioned style of football, Ryan Clark says, put your head on the numbers and go, right? And then he talked about Mac Jones. Steve Young talked about Mac Jones and said, hey, owners and coaches heed this. look at the model that Mac Jones portrays, the Tom Brady model, the stay in the pocket model, the old-fashioned basic quarterback, right? And take heed to
Yeah.
that.
What's
Because
wrong with winning football games?
that's right. And remember, when Ben Roethlisberger came into this league, and I can remember talking to Ken Wisenhunt, and Ken, if you, I'm sorry, I'm going to give you up here, but we did talk about it. And Ben's success was we had a system here. We had a team that had an identity, as you say. We had a team that Ben was plug and play for maybe the first 2 years, right? Until he
Yeah.
grew into that role, right? But basically, so, and that's Mac Jones right now. Bill Belichick is the system.
I
Plug and
agree.
play,
I
right?
love Mac Jones.
Yeah, I do too.
I wish the Steelers would have.
Yeah, me too. But you know what? Out of all the hotshot quarterbacks that were drafted, Mac Jones was probably the least flashy. I lost caller. There you are. You there?
Yeah. Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if you I don't know if you heard any of that, but Mac Jones was the least flashy of all of those high profile quarterbacks, and yet he's the one performing because you can't ask him to do too much. And I think I love him, I really do. But the point was that we had a system. We don't have anything to plug into right now, and so my question
Yes,
becomes:
we do. No, you're wrong.
Go
You're
ahead. What?
wrong.
What am I?
I just explained it.
Oh,
They have that running back to plug into, but they need to go ahead and lean into that heavily and just say, we've become a running team again. I'm talking next year, not
you're
this year.
talking next year, yeah.
Right.
You're talking next year, and I don't disagree with that, but I mean, obviously, there's so many different opinions here. I don't know. I want to talk about Sunday. I want to talk about the last, what is it, 6 weeks left? Is that what we have?
Yeah, but real quick, though, I sense something in you, and I've sensed this the whole time. And it's
What?
because you're too kind of a person. You pass out turkeys to everyone, you do this for schools, whatever. You are too worried about, and this is where your heart comes into this. You're worried about Najee Harris 6 years from now. And you don't like the cold reality of the business of football that you might wear the guy out for 3 years and be done with him. I can crawl into I know you a little bit and can crawl into your brain, and that bothers you that I'm not seeing him as a commodity, but that some people might and use him up like that. That bothers you, Richard.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I'm not that generous. I think the thing is that bothers me about that, though, Colin, is I don't know how realistic it is to think that you can be a one running back team. I think you got to support him somewhere, and maybe it's a fullback. I don't know, but somehow when I look at the successful running teams, there's a good 1-2 punch. In Green Bay, they don't fall off from Jones to I forget the second running back's name. And so I think that we need that, but I do think Najee I was a fan of his drafting. Use him he's on the field. He can be a 3-down back. He's the guy. I agree with that. But you don't have a quarterback to set him up successfully. You just don't.
All right, back to Sunday. You said you want to talk about right now in the now, right?
I do. I think we get kicked. I think we get our ass kicked. You've never heard me say. You've never heard me say that.
No, no.
No,
and
I do.
And especially
okay. Let me say this.
You don't like Lamar Jackson or what he brings.
Let me say this. I do not like Lamar Jackson. Let me say this though. In my own defense, making that comment. Wow. I am using Mike Tomlin's quote. And I'm saying we will get our ass kicked, comma, if we don't change something. Mike Tomlin's comment, and I think you were there. Mike Tomlin's comment was insanity is, expecting a different result without changing something. And so to piggyback off of that, if we don't, and the thing is, though, I don't even know what changes he can make.
That's it. He said personnel. What's he going to do? Bench Pierre and put Witherspoon in?
I mean, that's like John Doe or Jim Doe. Who cares? Right? It doesn't matter. We don't have the personnel to make that difference. And that's what I'm concerned about. That's why I say we get our butts kicked. Because I don't know that we have the ability to make those changes.
Do you know what's different with these Steelers than in the past? that if someone got hurt, it was a guy like Hoke. It was a guy like Clark Higgins. It was a guy like James Harrison that came in. Now people get hurt, and you have to look at the roster to see what their number is and who they are, and you don't know anything about them.
That's so funny you said that. I felt that way when I watched last week's game. Yeah, I don't know all the players. I don't know who they are. Yeah, I'm concerned about the team. I am concerned about this Sunday. I am more concerned about the whole team. Is it possible that a Mike Tomlin team could really have or take the field with a lack of desire? Is that really possible, do you think?
Yeah, and it's not a reflection of Mike Tomlin. I think it's a reflection of the new age athlete. A coach could you work with other a leader can only do so much. I'd love to blame the coach, and believe me, I hammer Mike Tomlin when it's time. But what is he supposed to do with a 23-year-old man who's already been told since the time that he was 12 years old that he's the greatest thing in the world when he's in that moment and it's time? Like, what more can a coach do? This isn't 16 years old, all the right moves, and Ampipe is playing Walnut Heights or whatever. This is a guy that's already rich, and in a lot of times richer than the coach.
You're talking about Clay, the Chase?
Yeah.
Yeah. So specifically, somebody actually in an NFL team said to me about dealing with the younger generation kids that this is what he says. Listen, I know these are the same people that get participation trophies, right? It's the same issue, right? Actually, I think James Harrison said this. There's only two people in the world that think you're great: your mother and Mr. Rogers, and Mr. Rogers is dead. So I thought that was a great quote, and I do think James said that. And if he doesn't like that I said that, he can call me up and we can fight. But I love James, by the way. But I think part of it is that. But here's the difference. And this is where I tend to think I don't want to cross that line and become anti. These problems don't exist in New England.
Well, here's the other thing. You make a great point, and you're right about that. Everybody who leaves New England, Brady included, Gronkowski included, you have to live that life 24/7, and you have to know coming out the other side that it was zero fun the whole time. Because they, to a man, all say, I didn't have 1 ounce of fun until we lifted that trophy, and then we liked that for about a week, and then it was back to we hated our lives the whole season.
So it's interesting. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago we talked about Mike Tomlin and his press conference, and it was a Los Angeles receiver, what's his name? Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen, yeah.
Keenan Allen. And somebody asked Mike Tomlin about Keenan Allen, and he said, let me tell you about Keenan Allen. I was fortunate enough to work with him for 1 week. Here it is on Keenan Allen. He knows football. He loves football. He lives football. He drinks football. He sleeps football. That's why Keenan Allen is successful. And I will tell you that no matter what in life, if you want to be a trash picker-upper, or you want to be a waiter, you want to be a chef, no matter what it is you want to be, the harder you work, if you outwork the next guy, you will be more successful. You have to want it. If you don't want it, and that's what I see is missing. I see frustration. I see Ben coming off the field frustrated. I don't see it. You have to want it so bad. Live it, breathe it, own it. If you don't do that, Colin, in my opinion, in my many, many years, I have never seen anybody with a lackadaisical attitude be successful.
Some people, though, are good enough to almost reach the top by sheer talent and don't have to work as hard, and that they find out the hard way.
They don't sustain. They don't sustain. They can't last.
They can't last. I agree with you.
They can't last. I'm going to tell you, if Claypool,
but in the moment, you can't tell them that.
Well, what do you think is going to do? But what do you think is causing Juju to be gone? He's going to be gone because he's got the same mentality. They're the same person. I love Juju. I think Juju's a talent, but they're the same person. They're the people that play music. That's what we want to do. Play music. I mean, come on. I'd Bill Belichick him so fast. You know what I'd do? I'd sit his ass down and he wouldn't play next week.
See, can I play the voice of reason here?
You can play, yes, because yes.
Because I've seen that locker room whenever they've played billiards and they've played ping pong or whatever, and then they've had bad weeks, and Mike Tomlin has said no games this week. Take away the pool table, take away the ping pong table. I'm not taken aback as much by Claypool saying that practice could be better with music, but here's how I'd use it. It should be a reward and something earned. Okay, you want to play a little music in practice? Here's a carrot I'm going to dangle in front of you. You guys go out and you play well for 3 weeks, and then I'll let you play music during stretching, during the first period of I'm okay to meet somebody in the middle, but they have to earn it. I'm not going to have it a full out look like a dance party, but maybe okay. If that's going to motivate you, motivate yourself to get there and get what you want.
So I understand. I understand that. But if you are a professional level playing at that level of sports, at that income level, man, don't you just get the reward from playing well, from knowing that what you're doing in practice? Somebody said about a Muhammad Ali poster once, the fight isn't won on Saturday or Sunday or whatever it is. The fight's won in the gym. And the fight's won in practice here.
Have you seen the attention spans of 23-year-olds? Richard, you started going to games a long time ago. Could you imagine? Take this. Listen to this for a moment. Every major league sports franchise has a department now called, and think about this. Think about this. In-game entertainment. Isn't the game the entertainment enough for a lot of people?
Wait, I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yes. In-game entertainment. So just think about then the attention span it takes to develop in-game entertainment to say, hey, the game that used to be enough for people, just coming to the game was the entertainment. Now we have to have a whole department to develop entertainment while you're being entertained. That, to me, typifies the attention spans of the people who are now the age that are playing these sports.
I think there's no question there's credibility to your statement. I do believe that. Actually, I'm sitting, it's a whole new world with the younger people. I'm sitting with our social media manager, Danielle, who was the first time in a job interview, the very first time anybody said to me, okay, that's great. All sounds good. Now, can you tell me about the work-life balance?
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong, but it was the first time I ever heard it. And I actually liked it. I liked that she asked me that. But it does show you it's a whole different world than where I came from. Like, we didn't want to do that. All we cared about is, man, I put in 14 hours today. I put in 16. Nobody wants to do that.
So I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying Claypool is right, but I'm saying maybe there's a middle ground to be had, and you could still be the boss. Hey, you guys can have what you want, but I need to let you know I'm still the boss, and maybe you can earn a little bit of it.
Okay, it depends on what your character is, because I can't see Bill Belichick saying that. But I do think that's Mike Tomlin. And I think Mike Tomlin is smart. And I do think, which is why it's so hard for me to even fathom a Pittsburgh Steelers team under this man that's not on the field, not motivated. And that is what they look like. And I don't know. Do you think they do? Do you think they look not motivated?
No, I think they just looked bad last week. I think Bush looked not motivated, but I think everybody else looked motivated. I think they're just not talented. Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you think the not talent part is other than the offensive line?
Well, the linebacking core, I think Schobert, if it wasn't for Bush being so bad, we've talked a lot about Schobert. He's not good. Pierre was terrible last week, that's for sure. Minkah Fitzpatrick is not performing up to the level at which he should be. He missed a big tackle on the goal line. So if he wants to be paid in the top 3 safeties, I don't know if I can do that. And quite obviously, the second running back is giving nothing. There's nothing there.
Yeah, that's true. And what about the quarterback?
He's not good enough. It's talent. There's a lot of talent. By not throwing the football deep and in the middle of the field, it allows other people to come up and just kill you on the run. There's no threat of throwing the football deep and in the middle of the field. There's none. So you can stop the run and stop the Steelers.
I wish I could argue with you.
All right. Prediction. You already let yours out of the bag.
Mine's out of the bag. I say without any changes, significant changes, we get our butts kicked.
You want to hear something crazy? And I was going to say this before you said what you're going to say.
Go ahead.
Steelers are going to win 2017 over Baltimore.
I knew you were going to say that.
I really think they are.
I knew you were going to say that.
They're going to reel us back in. This is reel us back
I
in.
hate when they do that to me, though.
Do you know what's going to happen this year? I'm telling you. Even with 17 games and an unbalanced schedule, they're going to find a way to finish 500. 8-1. You're going to find a way to do it. It's wild.
Now, that's a thought I hadn't had.
Yep. It's almost an impossibility, but Mike Tomlin's going to pull off a 500 season. 8-1.
Well, on a personal level, I love you, Mike. I want you to do well, and it's not personal.
Yes. Great stuff, Richard.
Thank you so much.